Fat People Hunting by Timothy Kimmel Jr., Chapter 4. Trouble's Hogshead. Well, it had been a long time since he got any, since the disappearance of his clan. So he had taken to shacking up with a human woman. Her name was Diane Susan, or Susan Diane. Either or would work with her. Pickings were slim for trolls, so sometimes they coupled with human women. They didn't usually produce any offspring, and trolls were, well, they were usually a lot better endowed than normal human men. And because of this, they had to be careful. But they got away with it by pretending to be retarded. Or they didn't really pretend. It just sort of happens. The confusion. They didn't know if they liked eating the human women. Literally. They usually just cooked up the men. Or if they liked drinking their breast milk better. Or kissing them as sustenance. Him and Noriega, his cousin that was left, they had started planning on going to Mexico, Area 69 and Area 68. That's where they heard that their family was being held. They figured they would go through Texas or maybe New Mexico. But they needed to rent a U-Haul to haul that many people around. Which involved buying a fake driver's license off the deep dark web. Or just relying on Treble Hogshead's ability to befuddle the human mind. The magic trick that he had. It's how they were going to get through the Canadian border from Alaska. They would all just have a brain fart, and as it usually happens, kind of space out what they'd been doing and who they let through the gate. It was going to go well too. They were going to bring the bear Elvis along because he was really like family now. The other bears, well, they didn't sing Elvis, you know. On the trip, they were pulled over by a cop. And of course, Treble used his skill. And yet, the cop thought that Elvis was on the radio, but it was really Elvis the bear in the back of the U-Haul singing. They didn't bring Diane Susan along. Like I said, it had been about 5 years since he had had sex with one of his wives, so trolls have certain needs. In desperate times, they didn't believe in the homosexuality thing that some human people fall for. Not knowing it's just an invention that Hollywood tried to sell people a long time ago. We're animals, trolls say. We copulate with the opposite sex, like all animals. Elvis would understand. Well, when they had amassed enough cash to see them through on the trip. And it really started looking like it was going. He sold his homemade root beer, hunted fat people, whatever odd jobs a troll could find. Just to have a safety catch of about 10 G's. He figured they could make more money on the way, doing what trolls do best. Eating, hunting fat people. Fat people hunting, as it's called. And selling root beer and other specialty items that they made. It was non-alcoholic, of course, but trolls know certain spices and herbs. So it was like a spiced root beer that made you feel really, really good. There might have been some sort of substance in it from the... Well, there always is, you know. Even chamomile tea has caffeine a lot of the time. But either way, it could have just been Treble's magic. He was named Treble because of, well, like a bass, you know. And because trouble. He was always getting into trouble and getting himself out of trouble at the same time. It was like a lost skill or something. And prone to adventurous stories. He was really starting to miss Inky, Pinky, Winky, Tinky, and Dinky, and his brother Dinky. Then there was Stinky. Shit. That was a girl. Trolls grow a little bit quicker than human beings. That's another thing. The problem that a troll had, disguising the fact that they were not human, was because they kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And he was already a well-endowed man to begin with. Well, troll, really. And of course, Belch. Oink. What a little piglet. Well, there were a lot more, counting his cousins and nieces and nephews, and I think his parents were still alive too. Trolls live a long time. You might not talk to one of your relatives, but since time seemed to flow differently where trolls lived, in the woods or the troll kingdom, you never really could tell how old one was. They could be hundreds of years old for all you know. The first time he met Susan Diane, it was like all the brains went out of his head. It was probably because it's been such a long time since he got any. His wives being missing and all. It was almost embarrassing. He meant to ask for her number, but it didn't really matter because he just kept coming around. And eventually, one thing led to another. She didn't know he was a troll. She'd probably never find out. But there was something different about him, something special. That she knew for sure. He was looking forward to finding his family. Getting through the Canadian border was a cinch. All he did was activate his gift. He asked the guard a redundant question. Something that You know, you don't really need to ask. Like if it's raining and you say, "What a bright sunny day, huh?" And he willed his gift to work. He felt drained, but the guard was befuddled, and everybody there caught his befuddlement, where they were just being without really doing anything for about 15 minutes. Finally, some impatient driver in the back honked his horn and snapped them out of it, but by then they were long gone. They opened the gate and let them pass through without even looking at their credentials. I've never been through Canada myself, but I hear there's a lot of security. Magic seems to bypass that, especially magic that has to do with the mind. Trouble's Hoghead might not be the smartest troll in the world, but he had natural gifts. And those natural gifts were going to help him get his family back.